Awakening thunder. Captain Nova Wright stood motionless at the observation deck of the ESS Thunderbolt, Earth's first and only star destroyer. The massive ship hummed beneath her boots, a predator ready to pounce. Beyond the reinforced viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the darkness, beautiful and fragile. She wondered if she would ever see it again. "Final systems check complete," said Commander Eli Chen, materializing beside her. His face, usually calm and composed, held a tightness around the eyes that betrayed his anxiety. "Engineering reports the Armageddon core is stable. We're ready to depart on your command." Nova nodded, her reflection ghostly in the glass. At 36, she was younger than most expected for the captain of humanity's most advanced warship. Her dark hair was pulled back in a severe bun, her brown skin bearing the scars of someone who had survived the Mars colony massacre. The memory was burned into her mind. The Vasheri warships appearing without warning, their energy weapons turning the biodomes to ash. 12,000 colonists vaporized in minutes. "What do you think they're saying about us down there?" she asked, gesturing toward Earth. "Some call us heroes," Eli replied. "Others say we're provoking a war we can't win." He hesitated. The news channels are split between celebration and protests. Nova turned from the viewport, her jaw set. "They don't understand what we're facing. The Vasheri won't stop with Mars. They're coming for all of us." She strode toward the bridge, her footsteps echoing in the corridor. The Thunderbolt was unlike any vessel humanity had built before. Not a ship of exploration or diplomacy, but a weapon forged from desperation and fury. After the Mars attack, the United Earth Defense Council had abandoned its peaceful stance and poured resources into military technology. The bridge buzzed with activity as Nova entered. Screens displayed system checks, weapons diagnostics, and the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. The Armageddon core. It was humanity's darkest secret, developed from recovered Vasheri technology found buried on Titan. The alien device manipulated space-time itself, allowing the Thunderbolt to tear holes in reality and travel vast distances instantaneously. "Captain on deck," Lieutenant Santos announced. The crew snapped to attention. Nova took her command chair, feeling its contours adjust to her body. The chair, like everything else on the Thunderbolt, represented humanity's quantum leap in technology, all achieved in just 3 years since the Mars attack. "Status report," she ordered. "All systems green," replied Santos, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Stealth systems engaged. The Vasheri monitoring stations near Jupiter haven't detected us." "Communications. Quantum entanglement network is online," answered Communications Officer Puddle. "We'll maintain contact with Earth Command regardless of distance." Nova nodded, satisfied. The entanglement network was another breakthrough, allowing instantaneous communication across any distance, a crucial advantage in the coming conflict. "Tactical." Lieutenant Commander Jackson, the weapons officer, straightened. His face bore the same haunted look that many survivors of Mars shared. Main cannon charged at 100%. Point defense systems online. Drone swarms ready for deployment. The main cannon was the Thunderbolt's primary weapon, a gravitational lance capable of collapsing the star's core. Hence the designation Star Destroyer. It was a weapon of last resort, developed with the understanding that humanity might face extinction without it. "Very well." Nova's voice was steady as she opened shipwide communications. "All hands, this is your captain. In 5 minutes, we depart on the most critical mission in human history. 3 years ago, the Vasheri Dominion attacked Mars without provocation or warning. They left no survivors, only a message that humanity is unworthy of the stars." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Yesterday, our deep space relays detected a Vasheri fleet approaching our system, a force far larger than the one that destroyed Mars. Their estimated arrival at Earth, 14 days. The Thunderbolt is humanity's answer, our refusal to go quietly into extinction." The bridge was silent, every eye on her. Our mission is simple but dangerous. We will use the Armageddon core to jump beyond our solar system, locate the Vasheri staging area, and demonstrate Earth's capability to strike back. We are not seeking total war, but to force a reconsideration of their plans, to make them understand that attacking Earth will come at a cost they may not wish to pay. Nova took a deep breath. I won't lie to you. This is a one-way mission with minimal chance of return. But our success means Earth survives. Our families survive. Humanity survives. That is what we fight for today. She nodded to Commander Chen. Initiate launch sequence. Take us out. The Thunderbolt's engines surged to life. Unlike conventional rockets with fiery exhausts, the ship generated a ripple in space-time that propelled it forward silently. It moved like a predator, sleek, deadly, purposeful. Earth grew smaller in the viewports as they accelerated. Within minutes, they passed the moon's orbit. The ship-wide speakers crackled with a message from Earth Command. ES Thunderbolt, this is Admiral Yoshida. You are cleared for Armageddon core activation. May God be with you all. Nova exchanged glances with Commander Chen. The moment had arrived. Activate the core, she ordered. Below decks, the alien heart of the ship pulsed with impossible energy. Space before the Thunderbolt seemed to fracture, reality itself tearing open to reveal a swirling vortex of light and darkness. Jump coordinates locked on Proxima Centauri, announced Navigator Kim. Ready on your command. Nova gripped her armrests. Take us through. The Thunderbolt surged forward into the vortex. For a terrifying moment, the ship seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously, the laws of physics rendered meaningless. Then, with a silent flash, they emerged into unknown space. Stars shifted into unfamiliar patterns as displays confirmed what seemed impossible. They had traveled 4.2 light-years in an instant. Proxima Centauri glowed red on the view screen, an alien sun for humanity's first interstellar warship. Jump successful, reported Kim, disbelief coloring her voice despite months of simulation. All systems functional. Nova allowed herself a moment of awe before refocusing. Begin full sensor sweep. Let's find our enemy. The Thunderbolt's sensors probed the darkness, searching for signs of the Vasheri. They didn't have to wait long. Contact. Jackson's voice was tight. Multiple signatures at the edge of the system. Configuration matches Vasheri vessels. The main screen shifted to show a formation of alien ships, sleek, asymmetrical craft with organic-looking hulls that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. They were gathered around a massive structure that could only be a jump gate, the Vasheri equivalent of the Armageddon core technology, but on an industrial scale. My God, whispered Commander Chen. That's not just a fleet. That's an invasion force. Nova studied the display, counting at least 50 warships, each capable of delivering the destruction that had annihilated Mars. But it was the massive vessel at the center that chilled her blood, a dreadnought at least 10 times the size of the Thunderbolt. They're preparing to move against Earth, she said, and in greater numbers than we anticipated. Captain, Lieutenant Patel called, her voice strained. We're receiving a transmission. It's directed at us specifically. Nova frowned. How is that possible? Our stealth systems. They're scanning us with something our systems can't identify. The transmission is coming from the dreadnought. Nova hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled with a voice that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. A symphony of tones layered into something approximating human speech. We see you, child of Earth. Your primitive attempt at concealment amuses us. Your stolen technology offends us. You are thieves playing with forces beyond your comprehension. Nova's hands clenched. Open a channel. When the connection was established, she spoke clearly and firmly. This is Captain Nova Wright of the Earth starship Thunderbolt. Your unprovoked attack on Mars was an act of war against humanity. We demand. The alien voice cut her off. You demand nothing. You are insects who have found a weapon in the mud and believe yourselves warriors. We are the Vasheri Dominion, guardians of order for 10,000 years. Your species is chaotic, unpredictable, dangerous. Your extinction is not personal. It is necessary. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. They're powering weapons, Jackson reported, his voice unnaturally calm. Nova's mind raced through options. The Thunderbolt could likely destroy several of the smaller vessels, but against the Dreadnought and the full fleet, they stood no chance. Yet retreating to Earth would only lead the Vasheri straight to their homeworld. All power to the main cannon, she ordered. Target their jump gate. Commander Chen looked at her sharply. Captain, if we destroy their gate, we trap them here, away from Earth, she finished, and send a message. As the Thunderbolt systems redirected energy to the gravitational lance, the Vasheri fleet began to move. 3 destroyer-class vessels broke formation, accelerating toward them. Incoming fire, Jackson shouted. Space distorted as alien weapons discharge, not energy beams or projectiles, but warped bubbles of space-time that would implode anything they touched. Evasive maneuvers, Nova commanded. The Thunderbolt banked sharply, its advanced thrusters pushing the hull to its limits. 2 of the space-time weapons missed, distorting empty space. The third grazed their port side, alarms blaring as a section of hull simply ceased to exist. Damage report. Port section 9 is gone, Chen responded grimly. Casualties unknown. Automated systems sealing the breach. Nova didn't have time to mourn. Cannon status. Charged at 80% and climbing, Jackson replied. The Vasheri destroyers were regrouping for another attack. Behind them, the rest of the fleet was beginning to move, the massive dreadnought at their center like the nucleus of a deadly cell. We won't get another chance, Nova said. Fire as soon as ready. The seconds stretched like hours as the cannon charged. The Vasheri destroyers launched another volley, and this time the Thunderbolt's evasion was less successful. 2 space-time weapons struck the ship's ventral section, erasing matter from existence. Structural integrity at 60%. Chen shouted over the alarms. Cannon at 98%, Jackson countered. Nova watched the approaching Vasheri fleet, determination hardening her resolve. Fire. From the Thunderbolt's bow, a beam of concentrated gravitational energy lanced across space, invisible except for the light it bent around its path. It struck the massive jump gate at the heart of the Vasheri formation. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the gate began to warp, its structure collapsing as the gravitational forces tore it apart from within. The collapse accelerated, creating a chain reaction that resulted in a blinding flash as the gate's power source detonated. The shockwave rolled outward, tossing Vasheri ships like leaves in a hurricane. Even the massive dreadnought rocked from the force of the explosion. Direct hit, Jackson reported, awe in his voice. The gate is destroyed. The bridge crew began to cheer, but Nova silenced them with a raised hand. Status of the Vasheri fleet. Disorganized but largely intact, Chen answered. The dreadnought is unharmed. Nova nodded grimly. They had achieved their primary objective. The Vasheri invasion force was cut off from Earth, but they had also trapped themselves with an enemy that vastly outnumbered them. The Armageddon core is depleted, Navigator Kim reported. We'll need at least 48 hours to regenerate enough power for another jump. Which meant they couldn't escape. Not yet. They're hailing us again, Paddle said. Nova straightened in her chair. Put them through. The alien voice returned, but now it contained something new, a note of surprise, perhaps even respect. You have acted with unexpected courage, humans. Foolish, but brave. Your destruction of our gate has delayed, not prevented, our purpose. But it has earned you something rare, our attention. Nova exchanged glances with Chen before responding. We don't want your attention. We want you to leave our system and never return. Impossible. Your species represents a fundamental threat to cosmic order. However, the voice paused. Your demonstration suggests you may be worthy of explanation before extinction. You have 48 of your hours to prepare. Then we will come for you, and you will understand why humanity must end." The transmission cut off. Nova sat back in her command chair, her mind working through implications. "They know about the core's recharge time," she said quietly to Chen. "They're waiting until we're ready to escape before attacking." "Why?" Chen asked. "Why not destroy us now?" "Because this isn't just about Mars or Earth anymore," Nova realized. "They want to know how we acquired their technology, and they want to test our capabilities before moving against our homeworld." She stood, addressing the entire bridge. "The Vasheri have given us a deadline. We're going to use it. Begin repairs immediately. And I want a detailed scan of that dreadnought. If we're going to fight our way home, we need to know exactly what we're facing." As the crew rushed to obey, Nova returned to the viewport. In the distance, the Vasheri fleet regrouped around their massive flagship. They had traveled across the stars to deliver a message, to prove humanity wasn't helpless. Now they had the Vasheri's attention. The question was whether they could survive it. Breaking silence. The 48-hour deadline crawled by with excruciating slowness. Every minute aboard the Thunderbolt was spent in frantic activity, repairing damage, analyzing Vasheri technology, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Captain Nova Wright had barely slept, subsisting on stimulants and determination. "Armageddon core at 63% capacity," reported Navigator Kim. "Another 19 hours until jump capability is restored." Nova studied the tactical display where the Vasheri fleet maintained its distance, surrounding the Thunderbolt in a loose formation that allowed no escape. The massive dreadnought remained at the center, ominous and patient. "They're toying with us," Commander Chen said quietly. "They could overwhelm us with numbers at any moment." "Maybe," Nova replied. "Or maybe they're genuinely curious. Either way, we use every second they give us." She turned to Lieutenant Jackson. "What have we learned about their dreadnought?" Jackson brought up a three-dimensional schematic based on their sensor readings. "It's unlike anything in our databanks. The hull appears partially organic, self-repairing. Power signatures suggest multiple redundant cores, but we've detected what might be a vulnerability." The schematic highlighted a section near the dreadnought's central mass. "This structure resembles a neural cluster, possibly a central command node. If we could target it precisely, we might disable the ship temporarily." Nova nodded. "And the rest of the fleet?" "Hierarchical command structure," Chen answered. "The smaller ships don't operate independently. Disrupt the dreadnought, and we might confuse the entire formation." Long enough to escape, Nova concluded. It wasn't much of a plan, but it was all they had. Lieutenant Patil interrupted from communications. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual transmissions between the Vasheri ships. They're arguing." Nova raised an eyebrow. "They can disagree. Apparently. I can't translate everything, but there seems to be a faction that questions the decision to eradicate humanity. They're citing some prophecy or historical precedent." This was new information, the first suggestion that the Vasheri weren't a monolithic force. Nova filed it away as potentially useful. "Keep monitoring those transmissions. I want to know if there's any way to exploit their disagreements." The intercom chimed. "Captain to Engineering," came the voice of Chief Engineer Reyes. "I have something you need to see." Nova found Reyes in the heart of the ship, surrounded by the alien technology of the Armageddon core. The device pulsed with otherworldly light, its geometries defying human understanding. "What is it, Chief?" Reyes, a compact woman with perpetually oil-stained hands, pointed to a series of symbols that had appeared on the core's surface. "These weren't here before. They started manifesting about an hour ago, shortly after we detected those Vasheri transmissions." Nova studied the glowing glyphs. "Are they affecting the core's functionality?" "Just the opposite," Reyes said with barely contained excitement. "Power levels are rising faster than projected, and I've discovered something else." She led Nova to a workstation where a simulation was running. I've been analyzing how the core interacts with space-time. The Vasheri use it for propulsion, but that's like using a quantum computer to play chess. The technology has capabilities we haven't begun to tap. Nova frowned. Explain. The core doesn't just move the ship through space. It can reshape space-time itself. Theoretically, with the right configuration. Rise hesitated, as if afraid to voice her conclusion. We could weaponize it, Nova finished. Turn the drive itself into a weapon. Rise nodded. One powerful enough to affect even the dreadnought. Nova's mind raced with possibilities. How quickly can you reconfigure it? That's the problem. I understand the theory, but the practical application. Rise gestured helplessly at the alien glyphs. I need more time. Time they didn't have. The deadline was approaching, and the Vasheri would not extend their grace period. Nova returned to the bridge to find the atmosphere tense. On the main screen, the Vasheri fleet had begun to move, tightening their formation around the Thunderbolt. They're preparing to attack, Chen said grimly. Nova took her command chair. All hands to battle stations. Prepare point defense systems and drone swarms. As klaxons sounded throughout the ship, Lieutenant Patel turned from her console with wide eyes. Captain, we're being hailed, but not by the Vasheri. Nova frowned. What? From where? I don't know. The signal's origin it's coming from inside Proxima's asteroid belt. Nova exchanged puzzled glances with Chen. Put it through. The voice that filled the bridge was distinctly human. ES Thunderbolt, this is Director Elena Sorensen of the Proxima Underground. Your arrival was unexpected, but timely. We've been monitoring your situation. Stunned silence gripped the bridge. Nova found her voice first. This is Captain Wright. Identify yourself fully. There are no authorized human colonies in this system. A dry chuckle came through the speakers. Authorized? By Earth? We've been here for 15 years, Captain. Since long before the Vasheri made themselves known. We're fugitives, you might say. Scientists and engineers who discovered what you now call the Armageddon core technology. When we tried to warn Earth governments about what we'd found, we were branded as dangerous radicals. Nova struggled to process this information. You built a secret colony to develop alien technology. We came to study it at its source. Sorensen corrected. The Proxima system is rich with Vasheri artifacts, remnants of an ancient battle. We've had years to understand what you've barely begun to grasp, and we might be able to help you survive the next few hours. Before Nova could respond, Jackson called out from Tactical. Vasheri vessels are powering weapons. They're moving to engage. Sorensen's voice became urgent. You need to trust us, Captain. Transmitting coordinates now. Bring the Thunderbolt to our location immediately. It could be a trap, Chen warned. Nova weighed their options in a split second. Face the entire Vasheri fleet alone, or trust these mysterious humans hiding in the asteroid belt. Helm, set course for those coordinates, maximum thrust. Tactical, prepare all defensive systems. The Thunderbolt surged forward as the first Vasheri weapons fire streaked past them. The ship shuddered under near misses as they raced toward the asteroid belt, the Vasheri fleet in pursuit. Entering the belt, announced the helm officer. Navigation is becoming difficult. Stay on course, Nova commanded. Follow those coordinates exactly. The Thunderbolt weaved between massive asteroids, its advanced propulsion systems allowing maneuvers that would be impossible for larger vessels. Behind them, several pursuing Vasheri ships collided with asteroids or each other, unused to such dense terrain. We're approaching the coordinates, reported Kim. I'm detecting something unusual. The view screen showed what appeared to be a particularly dense cluster of asteroids ahead. As they drew closer, the illusion fell away. What had looked like natural formations was a disguised structure, a massive installation built into and between the asteroids themselves. A hidden base, whispered Chen in awe. Part of the station seemed to unfold, revealing a docking bay large enough to accommodate the Thunderbolt. "Captain, the Vasheri are still in pursuit, but they're holding back from the asteroid field," Jackson reported. "They're repositioning to blockade the entire sector." Nova made her decision. "Take us in." The Thunderbolt slipped into the concealed dock, massive doors closing behind them. Gravity generators engaged, stabilizing the ship as it settled onto landing struts. "Power down non-essential systems, but maintain combat readiness," Nova ordered. "Commander Chen, Lieutenant Jackson, you're with me. Let's meet our mysterious benefactors." They disembarked to find a welcoming committee, a group of about a dozen humans in practical jumpsuits rather than military uniforms. At their head stood a tall woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that reflected decades of hard-won wisdom. "Captain Wright," she said, extending a hand. "Elena Sorensen, welcome to Proxima Base. I wish it could be under better circumstances." Nova shook her hand cautiously. "You said you've been here 15 years. How is that possible? Earth had no FTL capability before the Thunderbolt." Sorensen smiled thinly. "Not officially. No. Follow me. We don't have much time." She led them through corridors carved from asteroid rock and reinforced with advanced materials. The base was a marvel of engineering, a completely self-sufficient habitat hidden from both Earth and Vasheri detection. "We discovered the first Armageddon core fragment on Titan, just as your engineers did later," Sorensen explained as they walked. "But we understood its significance immediately. When we tried to warn the planetary governments about potential alien contact, we were silenced. Some of our group were arrested. Others disappeared." "So you fled," Chen concluded. "We did what was necessary to continue our work," Sorensen corrected. "We built a prototype ship and came here to study the artifacts at their source. The Proxima system was once a major Vasheri outpost, until something destroyed them thousands of years ago. They entered what appeared to be a command center, where screens monitored the Vasheri fleet now surrounding the asteroid field. That's what the Vasheri fear," Sorensen continued. "Not humans specifically, but what we might become. They've seen it before, young species who evolve rapidly and unpredictably. They call it the awakening pattern. According to their history, the last species that followed this pattern nearly destroyed the Vasheri Dominion." Nova's eyes narrowed. "What happened to that species?" "The Vasheri exterminated them, and now they intend to do the same to humanity." Jackson spoke up. "With all due respect, how does any of this help us right now? We're trapped, outgunned, and running out of time." Sorensen turned to face them fully. "Because we've spent 15 years studying how to fight the Vasheri. We've developed technologies specifically designed to counter their advantages, and your arrival presents an opportunity we never expected." She gestured to a holographic display showing the Thunderbolt. "Your ship's Armageddon core is more advanced than our prototype. Combined with our knowledge, we might be able to do more than just escape. We might be able to send a message that will make the Vasheri reconsider their plans for Earth." Nova studied the woman carefully. "What exactly are you proposing?" "A modification to your core. We've developed a theoretical approach that could create a cascading space-time disruption, essentially a ripple effect that would temporarily disable Vasheri technology. Their ships, weapons, everything." "For how long?" Chen asked. "Minutes, perhaps. Long enough for you to escape, and to broadcast a message to every Vasheri ship in the sector." Nova frowned. "What message?" "That humanity can hurt them. That exterminating us will cost them more than they're willing to pay." Sorensen's eyes were hard. "Mutually assured destruction, Captain. The only language bullies truly understand." Nova considered the proposal. It was risky, desperate, but no more so than facing the fleet alone. "How quickly can you implement these modifications?" "We've already begun. Your chief engineer Rice is working with our team right now." Nova hadn't authorized that, but she couldn't fault Sorensen's initiative given the circumstances. "One question, Director. If you've been here for 15 years, you must have observed the Vasheri extensively. Why haven't they detected your base? Sorensen smiled thinly. Because we learned their weaknesses. The Vasheri are powerful but predictable. They see patterns, not exceptions. They look for technology signatures they recognize, not the ones we've developed independently. She led them to a viewport overlooking a hangar where several small ships were docked, vessels with configurations unlike anything developed on Earth. We've built our own fleet, Captain. Not star destroyers, but strike craft designed to exploit Vasheri vulnerabilities. We've been waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. Nova studied the ships with a mixture of admiration and suspicion. And you think this is that moment? The Vasheri were always going to find Earth eventually. Your arrival has accelerated their timetable, but it's also given us an opportunity. With the Thunderbolt's firepower and our specialized technology, we might actually stand a chance. An alarm sounded throughout the base. A technician rushed into the command center. Director, the Vasheri dreadnought is moving. It's deploying some kind of energy web around the asteroid field. Sorensen's expression tightened. They're done waiting. We need to move now. She turned to Nova. Captain, we're prepared to join forces with Earth, to share everything we've learned. But we need to act immediately, or there won't be an Earth left to save. Nova made her decision. Prepare your ships. We'll coordinate our attack through the Thunderbolt's command systems. As Sorensen's team rushed to implement the plan, Nova returned to her ship. The crew was already at battle stations, the modified Armageddon core pulsing with new energy patterns. Status report, she demanded as she took her command chair. Core modifications complete, reported Reyes over the comm. Sorensen's people know their stuff, Captain. This might actually work. The Proxima Underground has launched 12 strike vessels, added Jackson from Tactical. They're taking position behind the larger asteroids, waiting for our signal. Nova activated shipwide communications. All hands, this is your captain. We are about to engage the Vasheri fleet alongside allies we never knew we had. Our mission has evolved. We came here to show that humanity could hurt the Vasheri. Now we're going to prove that we can defeat them. She nodded to Commander Chen. Begin the countdown. The Thunderbolt's engines roared to life as the docking bay doors opened. Simultaneously, the 12 strike craft of the Proxima Underground emerged from hiding places throughout the asteroid field. The Vasheri are responding, Jackson reported. Their fleet is moving to intercept. Nova watched the tactical display as the massive dreadnought turned ponderously toward them, its escort vessels spreading out in attack formation. Armageddon core reconfiguration at maximum, announced Reyes from engineering. Ready on your command. Nova took a deep breath. Execute. The core released its energy not as propulsion but as a wave, invisible to the eye but devastating to Vasheri technology. The wave expanded outward, passing through the asteroid field and washing over the alien fleet. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Vasheri ships faltered, their organic mechanical systems disrupted by the space-time distortion. Weapons powered down, propulsion failed, and communication ceased. It worked, Chen exclaimed. Their systems are offline. For about 3 minutes, cautioned Reyes. The effect is temporary. That's all we need, Nova replied. All ships engage as planned. The Thunderbolt burst from the asteroid field, its conventional weapons firing at the paralyzed Vasheri vessels. Simultaneously, the Proxima Underground strike craft darted between the larger ships, targeting specific vulnerabilities with surgical precision. One by one, Vasheri destroyers erupted in silent explosions. The smaller craft couldn't stand against the combined assault of the Thunderbolt and the strike team. But the massive dreadnought remained largely intact, its redundant systems already beginning to recover. Dreadnought is restoring power, warned Jackson. Estimated 40 seconds until weapons capability returns. Nova turned to communications. Lieutenant Patel, broadcast on all frequencies, using the translation protocols provided by Sorensen's team. When Paddle nodded readiness, Nova spoke clearly and firmly. Vasheri Dominion, this is Captain Nova Wright of Earth. Today you witnessed what a handful of humans can accomplish against your fleet. Imagine what billions would do if you threaten our homeworld. We do not seek war with you, but we will not accept extinction. The silence of space has been broken. Humanity has found its voice, and we will be heard. As she finished, the dreadnought systems came fully online. But instead of immediately attacking, it held position. They're responding, Paddle reported with surprise. The now familiar alien voice filled the bridge, but its tone had changed, the contempt replaced with something closer to caution. You have surprised us, humans. Your species continues to defy prediction. The Council must reconsider. Nova exchanged glances with Chen before responding. Does this mean you're withdrawing? For now, came the reply. A delegation will be sent to your Earth. Not for war, but for assessment. You have earned this much. The transmission ended. Slowly, the Vasheri fleet began to disengage, moving away from the asteroid field with the damaged dreadnought at their center. Are they really retreating? Jackson asked incredulously. Tactically, they have no choice, Chen observed. We've demonstrated capabilities they didn't expect, and their supply line through the jump gate is cut. They need to regroup. Nova nodded slowly and reconsider their approach to humanity. As the tension on the bridge gradually eased, Nova opened a channel to the Proxima base. Director Sorensen, the Vasheri are withdrawing. We need to return to Earth immediately to prepare for their delegation. Sorensen's voice was triumphant. My team is already preparing a data package with everything we've learned about the Vasheri, their biology, psychology, technology. Take it with you, and tell Earth we're coming home. Nova raised an eyebrow. After 15 years in exile. The world is different now, Sorensen replied. The Vasheri threat has changed everything. Earth will need every advantage, every perspective, including ours. Hours later, with the Armageddon core recharged and Proxima's data secured, the Thunderbolt prepared to jump back to Earth. The Proxima underground fleet would follow once they had dismantled their base. A journey that would take weeks using their older technology, but one they were determined to make. As Nova stood at the viewport one last time, watching the red dwarf star that had witnessed humanity's first victory against the Vasheri, Commander Chen joined her. Do you think they'll honor their word? He asked quietly. Send a delegation instead of an invasion force. Nova considered the question carefully. I think we've changed the equation. They thought we were predictable, controllable. Now they know we're not. She turned to face the stars, no longer silent witnesses, but a battlefield where humanity had announced its presence. We've done what we came to do, Commander. We've broken the silence of space. Whatever comes next, the Vasheri and the galaxy won't forget that humans fought back.